so following on from my last introduction to sleep in my last video, now I want to move on to think a little bit more about problematic issues around sleep. So let's start with difficulties falling to sleep. So ideally we want to be asleep within seconds of hitting the pillow. If that's not happening for you, then I guess what it tells us is that your body is a bit confused about what the bed is for. So there's something going on where it gets into bed and maybe you become more alert even as soon as you lie down, or maybe the brain starts a cycle of worry or thought, which is basically a bad habit, or you're very upregulated, maybe there hasn't been enough wind down. So really consider these things as whether you're following good, healthy sleep regimes. But say, for example, we do find ourselves awake in bed and not getting to sleep, what should we do? Well, what we shouldn't do is sit there and think and worry and allow the brain to do this. This sets bad habits. We don't want to do that. What we need to be doing is, if you're not asleep within 10 or 15 minutes, I need you to get up and get out of the bed and move elsewhere. Clearly, it isn't going to happen. We want our brain not to mess around. We want it to switch off. And if it's not doing that, we're not going to sit around creating bad habits. So the best thing to do is get yourself up, go to another quiet room, and do something perhaps very unstimulating. Maybe if it helps, reading a book, or just doing something quiet like a jigsaw puzzle, or maybe watching some boring TV or something like that. Nothing too exciting, and wait until the moment of sleep falls upon you. And I guess you will know that by perhaps a need to rub your eyes or starting to yawn. It's a good indicator to go back into the bed and try again. Now, I've certainly worked with people that when they've done that, they found that they're very sleepy in the other room, they go back into the bedroom and they become alert again. Classic sign of the body not knowing what the bed's for. If that happens again, we wait again another 10 minutes. If it's not happening, we move ourselves again, and we just keep doing that until such time as the sleep is built up enough for us to just fall off to sleep. And that's what we need to do. If we get back into bed and we do fall asleep, isn't that great? That's wonderful. We're setting a really good, healthy pattern, and we just keep doing that until such time as when we're in bed, we begin to fall asleep. We're not going to allow the body to lie awake at night. And that also goes for times when you might wake up in the night and then you find it very difficult to sleep again. So say you wake up in the middle of the night, perhaps you go to the toilet and you find it hard to get back to sleep again. Again, the same principles apply. If you're not asleep within 10 minutes, get yourself up. It's very painful, I know, but it is important to do that so we don't set bad habits. If you find that you've woken up very close to the morning, rather than trying to sort of sleep, lie there tempting to sleep, but it's not really happening, and maybe you think, oh, well, at least I'm resting, that's something, I would urge you not to do that. I'd really rather you assess, am I actually feeling like I might sleep here? And if you don't, get yourself up and just get on with the day early. Don't worry about losing time in bed. What you're going to be doing is building up a good tiredness throughout the day, which will help the next night. What we're looking for is the body to get nice and tired and for it to fall asleep when you want it to and when it's required to. So building up tiredness is not an evil in itself. So let's think a little bit about other elements. So worry, people are often talking about worry, so they start this process of worry. Now certainly if you're stuck in a thought cycle, it's going to be quite hard to switch off, isn't it? So we need to assess what sort of things are going on for you. Is your mind trying to hold on to what it's supposed to be doing tomorrow? Are you running through things? If that's the case, I would then write things down so you know that they are there. Is it trying to solve problems? Are you thinking about a dilemma or something that feels difficult? What I would say to you about that is try and negotiate with the self a bit. When we are tired and it's night time, our thinking and our cognitions are not efficient, so we will typically wrangle with problems in bed for hours and hours and hours, and when we wake up in the morning we think, well, why did we waste that time? Because actually the solution is quite simple, and that's coming about because our ability to problem solve is vastly reduced at night time. So if we can bargain with ourselves and say, well, actually I'm not really going to solve this problem today, but I will think about this time at night. I know my thinking is down, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to make a note, I'm going to think about it in the morning, and so that will sometimes help you learn to detach a little bit and know that you will have that thinking space elsewhere when it's likely to be much more efficient. Sometimes that certainly does help. What about other areas of concern? So what about broken sleep? So say you have a sleep pattern that is very, very broken, you're in and out of sleep. What I would ask you to do is and that's not very good sleep because it's probably quite light sleep. What we probably need to do or think about needing to do is trying to concertina the sleep in. And when we've got it sleeping well, then we extend out. So what do I mean by that? Well, what I'd like you to do is have a look and perhaps do a little bit of recording. How much sleep do you think you're getting a night? Bearing in mind that most people underestimate the amount of sleep that they get. So I want you to just roughly work out, well, how many hours do you think you got in between all the brokenness? And whatever figure you get, I want you to try and create a sleep window that is only for that amount. So say, for example, you spend 8 hours in bed, but you think you probably only sleep for 4 or 5 hours. What I would rather you do is start to create a 4 or 5 hour window of sleep where you will only allow the body to sleep in that 4 or 5 hours. So maybe you go to bed at midnight and you wake up at 5 in the morning. Now, what we're trying to do is collapse the sleep down over time. I know you might worry about that and think, well, that's 5 hours, it's not enough. But trust me, if it's actually all you're getting currently, there is no loss. But what we're trying to do is cut out all the silliness that the body's doing in terms of not really sleeping. So we close that window down, into bed at midnight, up at 5, and you must stick to that. So this is the thing, we have to try and be really rigid. And it's possible that you might feel quite tired the next day, but again, it's building up sleep for the next night. And the next night we stick to midnight to 5, for example, again. And we keep doing that until the body moves to sleep through for those 5 hours. It's doing that for at least 2 or 3 nights on the trot. Once it's done that, it's a good sign that we can look to move it, and we extend the sleep window from 5 hours, for example, to 5¼ hours. So we move it 15 minutes more, and you can either take that at the beginning or the end. And we again repeat it until such time as the body is sleeping through for that extra time, and then we increase it another 15 minutes, and we keep doing that, looking for the 2 to 3 day pattern before we extend again, and we keep doing that until such time as the sleep breaks in the middle. Now this might take a few weeks to sort out, but this is the best way to do it, because what we're looking for is a good quality sleep, is sleep that sleeps through, and that's what we're trying to train it to do. Okay. So that's some ideas. There may be more that you'd like me to cover or comment on. So by all means, post up your requests, and if I get an opportunity, I will write a response. Thanks for now.